Next on the Alabama Evening News.
I'm Dan Cates in Montgomery. Guy Hunt could become the first Alabama governor in history to be criminally prosecuted. I'll tell you about today's developments in a live report.
Remember when the milkman would bring milk to your door? I'm Michael Jones. I'll bring you the story of the last milkman.
I'm James Spann. A deep southern secret revealed on Backyard Weather coming up, and a look at a wet forecast for Friday. That's next.
Channel 6 News, your 24-hour news source, is next.
Ladies and gentlemen, treat your eyes to the elegant new J30 from Crown Automobile. A classic luxury sedan in an infinity kind of way. A driver's car with 2 airbags, soft leather appointments, and real wood. The new J30 from Infinity. Now treat yourself to a test drive at Crown Automobile on Highway 31, south of the Galleria.
I want a tough, no-nonsense man in the district attorney's office, a man who has put his life on the line for the people of Shelby County. I want Billy Hill to stand up for my rights.
You're watching Channel 6, your 24-hour news source. Now, Alabama's first team. Scott Richards, Janet Hall, James Spann with the Doppler 6 forecast, Rick Carley with sports, and 6 on your side with Brenda Ladon. From your 24-hour news source, this is Channel 6, the Alabama Evening News.
A judge rules today that Governor Hunt is subject to state ethics laws. So what happens now in the controversy over Hunt's use of state planes? Prosecution is one possibility. Good evening, I'm Scott Richards.
And I'm Janet Hall. Thanks for joining us tonight. U.S. District Judge Harold Albritton has ruled that Alabama governors are not exempt from the state ethics law. As we reported last September, the Alabama Ethics Commission ruled there was probable cause to believe Governor Hunt violated the ethics law. He had used state aircraft to go to private preaching appearances in which he accepted $10,000 in offerings. Well, after questions were raised about that, the governor reimbursed the state, donating the money he accepted. Hunt later filed a lawsuit claiming the ethics law doesn't apply to him as governor, and in addition argued that his freedom to practice his religion was being infringed. Judge Albritton ruled today that Hunt's constitutional rights were not violated and that the state ethics law does in fact apply to the governor's office.
Hunt's lawyers plan to appeal the ruling. In the meantime, it's possible he could become first Alabama governor to be prosecuted.
Dan Cates is in Montgomery now with more on that. And Dan, you spoke with the Attorney General Evans today. What did he say?
Well, Janet, the Attorney General says now that this cloud has been removed, June 22nd, mid-June, is the target date for a special grand jury to hear the ethics case against Governor Hunt. During a packed press conference this afternoon, Jimmy Evans said the governor will not be given special treatment, and he says it now appears nothing can stop what would be an historic prosecution.
No, sir, not unless they ask the 11th Circuit to stay these proceedings. And the 11th Circuit then issues a stay order. I cannot imagine that happening. I can imagine asking for the stay order, but I cannot imagine the 11th Circuit granting it.
The governor will appeal to the 11th Circuit. We're told the governor is vacationing somewhere in North Carolina today, but Scott and Janet, as you said, his office did release a statement saying they will appeal.
Dan, as you know, taxpayers have been footing the bill for this entire case, both sides, the state and the governor. If Guy Hunt is prosecuted, will that continue?
Well, that's a question that will have to be resolved, but as for now, yes, taxpayers will be paying the bill. And ironically, if this case were to go to trial, taxpayers would have to pay for both sides, both the defense and the prosecution. Jimmy Evans says so far, this case has cost his office $162,000.
All right, thank you, Dan. Well, in other news out of Montgomery today, the Alabama State House will have to become more accessible to the disabled. Under a court settlement, the state must revamp the building's restrooms, modify doors, stairways, elevators, and telephones. The tentative agreement is the result of a lawsuit filed by a former Miss Wheelchair America who works at the state mental health agency.
Some tense moments today at Kirby Middle School after an early morning gang fight inside the school. Birmingham police say 10 youngsters were involved in the brawl. No one was hurt, but police found this loaded .22 caliber pistol there. Gang members had vowed to return when school let out today, but they didn't show up. A parent patrol member says the fight broke out because one of the Kirby students told police about a stolen car incident yesterday in Fountain Heights. A 16-year-old Jacksonville, Alabama boy is in the Coosa Valley Detention Center this evening, charged with murdering his mother. Relatives found Betty Cawley in her bedroom last night. Police say the 40-year-old woman had been shot in her head. Police were back at the Cawley's home this morning. They believe the shooting happened Tuesday morning while Mrs. Cawley was sleeping. Police arrested Cawley's son late last night, and friends and neighbors are shocked.
When we was hanging out and stuff, he was pretty nice.
Does this shock you?
Yeah, it shocks me big time. I just can't believe it.
Police say the family has had discipline problems with the teenager. They speculate that might have had something to do with the murder.
Well, once upon a time, the milkman was a familiar sight in many neighborhoods, but as the number of two-income households increased, fewer families needed home delivery. And of course, that meant fewer milkmen. Well, after tomorrow, there won't be any milkmen around here left. Michael Jones rode with Birmingham's last home delivery milkman today as he gets ready to drop off his last gallon of milk.
The pale morning sun delivers another day, and Charles Worthy delivers another gallon of milk. But Friday morning, Worthy's 30-year career as a home delivery milkman comes to an end.
I hate to see it go, really, when you've devoted your whole life to it, and then all at once, bam, it's gone. It's kind of sad.
Baker Dairy says not enough people want home delivery to keep offering it, but those who do will miss Worthy.
We're going to miss it with 3 small children. It certainly makes life a lot simpler. It's rather nostalgic. We're going to miss him.
And Worthy's human customers aren't the only ones who'll miss him.
That cat's been around for many, many years up here, and when I walk in, it'll meow at me, and I'll meow back at it.
Over the years, Worthy has delivered thousands and thousands of gallons of milk, but you'd be surprised at some of the other things he's delivered out of this old milk truck.
Over the years, I've sold hair dryers, I've sold flags, I've sold Tupperware, you name it. It's on anything that you could buy at a grocery store, we carry it on home delivery trucks. Oh, boy. These are my little friends. I meet them every morning.
Young and old alike, Worthy's customers hate to see him go because they know when he drives off into the sunrise Friday morning, a piece of Americana drives off with him. In Mountain Brook, Michael Jones, Channel 6, the Alabama Evening News.
Boy, I hate to see that end. After getting up in the wee hours of the morning for decades, Mr. Worthy says he's going to try to learn to sleep late.
For a man who worked his hours all these years, what would that be? 6 a.m. would be late? Yeah. Well, a much more worrisome story to tell you about at our